Hi everybody, it's Knitting in Our Jeans, and yes, I'm Carolyn, and yes, I'm flying solo. And before I forget, I'm CPREDMOR on Ravelry and Knitting in Our Jeans on Instagram. And I don't think I've posted anything on Instagram lately, but I've started a new project. And I'll certainly post when I block the shawl, and we're going to finish the shawl today. And I finished a couple things. Great. My Princess of Odds is finished, and I really love it. Yes, there's no button down at the bottom, very bottom, but that's okay. I've been wearing it without buttons for quite a while. What I did was I crocheted a larger button band around the neck because the neck really wasn't finished. So I started on this edge because really in the pattern there was a button band. And so I started double crocheting around the neck and then down the side. And then what I did was I did a slip chain for the buttonholes. And I am quite pleased. I don't think it will stretch over much. In fact, I don't think it's going to stretch at all because part of this yarn is nylon, which doesn't stretch. So it's warm. I think it'll be a really nice summer jacket. I'm really quite pleased. And for a while, Richard, for his birthday, wanted to go away. And I said, fine. And that was before we realized that, yes, I have to get my knee replaced because it's just not letting me do much of anything. All the things we've tried to help the knee get better or recuperate have failed. So I've gone in for an MRI on the knee, and the doctor's report came back going, yes, there's a lot more arthritis in that knee than we thought that we could see from the x-rays, because when I went for x-rays I couldn't really straighten it. So the MRI really satisfied the question on all of that. And yeah, I'm going to have my knee replaced on July 14th. And so I've got appointments stacked one after the other, trying to get all my other doctor's appointments done. And yes, I got my hair cut. I told him I wasn't going to be able to be back for like 5 months. So please cut it. And what bothers me is when it gets long in the back and starts tickling my neck. So I mean, the last time I had a knee replaced, it was 2020, and we were during the pandemic, and my hair had grown down my back, and I think I had it in a braid. So that was less annoying than the bunchy shrub that was at my shoulders before I just went to get it cut. So I'm really pleased with the cut. I love it. So that's news. The Princess of Odds is done. And then it's time to talk about our Half Pi Shawl. And this is that last section. It is a modification of a traditional feather and fan. And I am really pleased with how it turned out. I'm glad I didn't do another increase in stitches to get it to over 1,200 stitches, because this particular band would have been half the size, and I don't think that would have been very pretty at all. Anyway, what I thought I would do is I would show you how I bind off, because the bind off that I'm using is a modified stretchy bind off, modified Judy's stretchy bind off. So, and when I go to knit two together, let's get my needles going in the right direction here. Yes, this is a 60-inch needle. I don't go in and knit two together this way. I go in and knit through the back. So I'm going through the backs of my needles, and I'm just knitting through the backs, which makes my stitches lay to the left, but it's a bind off. So I put my just knitted stitch back on the left hand needle. I go through the back loops and I knit it. So what I did was I knit SSK 2 together 3 times, and then I did a knit 1, SSK 2 together, and that gives you the stretch. And then as I'm coming to the border, and I'm not going to make that, I have enough yarn. I'll make one of them stretchy. I'll back up. I'll make this one a stretchy. So you knit. So I've got 2 live stitches on my right hand needle. I put my needle in, and so I end up doing an SSK. Do you see? I just slip those 2 together, and then I go back to my SSK 2 together. For me, it's just an easier set of motions, because you do get everything lying to the left, and then to end it off you just pull it through and it's locked off. So I will put the instructions down below, but obviously I haven't woven in any ends because you just saw me, but here it is. And I just think it's incredibly festive. I love it, and it's going to stretch out. It's really so block out so nicely. And yes, I'm wearing my For Sara because I am working on my next project for the church, and I'm going to be making a quilt for them. And if I can get all my squares together before surgery, then I can quilt it. So I have started today. I basted together the pieces to make one square, and that actually worked out pretty well because I only had 2 mistakes where I had sewn a right side to a wrong side or both wrong sides together. Don't you like my semaphore flags? All right, so I'll cut in between them and then I will piece them together according to the pattern. So I should have at least one square done tonight. I do like the hand basting because then I can, as you know, there will be ooching. There's another one that has a problem. All right, so maybe we had 3 mistakes. You can see what I'm saying? This is the right side, this is the wrong side. And I obviously need to be paying a little bit more attention with my basting, because my basting should have caught that. So I will go through. So I'll cut this, and then I will seam rip that and get that going back in the right direction. So, okay, so I fixed that one, and then I can start putting them together. And they kind of go in a stair-step fashion. So I think what I have to do first is I have to put the big squares, a couple of the big squares together. And I have a sewing pattern, a sewing layout as to how to do this so I get the right design. And so am I excited about it? Yes. Does it make me nervous? Yes. Ergo, I'm wearing my For Sara because I have been steaming down by my sewing room. So, you know, the joys of older knitting, sewing. Yeah, I managed to steam my glasses because I want to do it right. Start that. I want to do it right because I'm doing it for somebody else, not for me. I have to say, Ben's mom, shout out to Ben's mom, got me thinking about this because she quilts like a fiend. She's an excellent quilter. She's got a beautiful sewing room set up, and she's ready to rock and roll. And what does she do with it all? She donates her quilts and her afghans to charitable organizations. And I went, oh my God, light dawned on Marblehead. All of this is for clothing that I want to wear. That's kind of selfish knitter that I am. But the quilting, I have quilts that my grandmother worked on. It's a crazy quilt from the hills of Virginia, down by Roanoke, Virginia. And I have a quilt that I won from the church raffle, and that was exciting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this quilt. It'll at least cover the top of a king-size bed. It very likely will drip over because I bought 2 kits. What came in the kit was fabric, and I finally did find the cutting directions and the sewing directions. They were a bit hidden, but that's me. It wasn't something they did. It's something that I just didn't look hard enough to find. All right, this is a part. So now right sides together, and I will go downstairs and I will baste that so I get to sew it correctly. So yeah, I plan to put this together. I'm hoping to get to the point where I can do several squares in a day, like maybe 10 would be great. So I could get all the squares together. And then what I'm thinking of doing is quilting the top through to the batting, and I'll put some tearaway or something on the bottom so that the machine doesn't get caught up in it, although it really shouldn't, because if I'm doing freewheeling, it shouldn't get caught. I have to talk about that. My machine, both my serger and my sewing machine, are in the shop getting their yearly physical. So I'm using Elizabeth's machine. Many people use a serger to put their pieces together, but I think I just showed that I have no business using a serger, at least in the beginning, until I really get my act together, because accidents happen with me. Mistakes happen. And if I'm doing it on a regular sewing machine, then I can easily, or more easily, take it apart than I could if it's on a serger. I'm not too concerned about finishing the edges because this is all going to be encapsulated. I mean, the backs of this are going to be facing the batting that will go in. And so I'm thinking of having a piece of batting and then quilting it each square. And then what I can do is I can then sew the squares together and then attach the backing. And then I could do just a large, square, row by column or square by square quilting through the top and the back, batting in the back, to get the whole thing to hold together. What I did do for both these pieces, my nose is running, don't you love allergies? I put them through hot on the washer and hot on the dryer. And yes, there was some shrinkage, but now there shouldn't be any shrinkage for anyone who gets this in the raffle. They should be able to, and I'm using a polyester batting because I want people who are not crafty to be able to just live with this quilt. And so they should be able to throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, and put it back on the bed. That's my goal. And by quilting the smaller squares on just the individual, or the smaller pattern on the individual squares, I think it'll be more manageable for me because I don't have a quilting frame. My quilting frame, I think we threw out when we left Port Washington. So I don't have a quilting frame. The quilting frame that the church used, I don't even know where that is. Our quilting ladies have aged out. And so there is no quilting group at the church. So I'm going to do this at home and see how far I get. Hopefully I can get it pretty finished by the time July 14th comes around. If I can get all the squares done and all that individual square quilting done, then attaching the back to the front, I could hand quilt that together, you know, stitch in the ditch and just hand quilt that as I'm laying on the sofa. We have contracted for the exercycle that Hospital for Special Surgery will want me to use. It talks to you. it communicates with HSS and tells you how long you're supposed to pedal it. And Richard was a champ on the thing, but then he has no feeling in that leg that he had his knee replaced on. So he was bebopping around the house. I've never seen anything like it because it really didn't hurt. I have no doubt that it's going to hurt. The first one hurt, the second one's going to hurt, but this hurts now and I can't go hiking. And I was talking to several women this week, and we all agreed that we love medical science because we're really glad that they can replace knees and hips and all these other things so that we can keep going on with our lives instead of being huddled up in a chair in a corner. So that's ACEs. And then the last thing I've been doing kind of at night when Richard wants to watch some show and I'm not really interested in it is I have been working on my winter fairy kind of cross stitch, and it's kind of moving along. I do like the smaller frame that I have on this than the larger set of Q bars, I think they're called Q bars, that I have on the Christmas fairy, because my eyes aren't darting around quite as much. And as a dyslexic, I find that it's easy for me to lose my place. So by bringing this down, it helps me a great deal. And then I really am trying to focus on one square at a time. So I'll try to pick the color that is predominantly what is left in that square, and I'll fill that in, and then instead of cutting the thread, I will then find the little cross stitches where it's supposed to go near it, run out of that thread, and then go back up to the square that I was trying to finish, so that I will get some visible progression on this. I'm quite pleased with that. That looked really nice. So anyway, I have been working on that. So the new project is my quilt. Fingers crossed on that, because I really do want to get it done, as much done as possible before the surgery. And that, I think, is about it. I will weave in those ends on my shawl this week, and I will block it so I can show it to you next time. I will continue to work on this quilt block so I can get one done today. I'm very excited about that. Nervous, obviously, that's why I'm wearing the For Sara. It's a lot cooler with the steam iron going, and just the pressure that I'm putting myself under to get this right, you know. But I said I would do it, so I'm going to do it. And that, I think, is it, folks. Good to see you again. I often wish I could see you as well as you could see me, but anyway. My plans are still to go to Rhinebeck and help out at Indie Untangled, barring any major complications. That will be 3 months from surgery, and I will be mobile by then. After surgery, you get 2 weeks of physical therapy at home, and that's really not much of anything. You know, try to lift your foot a little bit, bring it back. And then you start with physical therapy at the physical therapy office, and that's when it gets really serious. So 2.5 months out from that, I should be mobile. Whether I'll be able to really walk all around Rhinebeck or not, I have no idea. We'll buy the tickets. We'll see what happens. If we go on Saturday, it won't be until the afternoon. We may wait until Sunday morning to go. Just go look around, that kind of thing. I do like getting Miss Bab's colorway, but I found that since she puts it online, I just order it, and that way I don't have to carry it back and forth. I'm getting to be, I was going to say, such a baby about carrying things all over the, I love this. There it goes. I hope you all still saw me. Yes. The screen blanked out on me. I'm going to have to fix that. Timed out on me. I'll have to fix the timing. So that's my plan. So yes, we are still planning to go to India and Tangled and Rhinebeck. And that's about it. So thank you all for showing up. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.